Your dreams know you better than you know yourself. I'm not talking about some mystical nonsense. I'm talking about documented cases where people's dreams revealed medical conditions before any symptoms appeared. Dreams that exposed hidden traumas decades before therapy uncovered them. Dreams that predicted major life decisions months before the dreamer consciously made them. Jeremy Taylor spent over 40 years documenting thousands of these cases, and what he discovered changes everything we thought we knew about consciousness. See, Taylor wasn't just another dream researcher. He was a Unitarian Universalist minister turned radical dream psychologist who developed something revolutionary: group dream work that could decode the hidden language of the unconscious. And after facilitating over 10,000 dream sessions, he found that dreams don't just reflect who you are. They actively shape who you're becoming. They operate on 5 distinct levels, each one peeling back another layer of your psyche, revealing truths so fundamental that most people spend their entire lives avoiding them. But here's what's truly unsettling. Taylor discovered that every single dream, no matter how mundane or bizarre, carries multiple layers of meaning simultaneously. A dream about losing your teeth isn't just about anxiety. It's about transformation, power dynamics, communication failures, and evolutionary memories all operating at once. And the deeper you go into these levels, the more you realize that your dreams aren't random neural firings. They're a sophisticated communication system that's been trying to tell you something your entire life. You just haven't been listening, until now. Source Level 1. The surface projection. Jeremy Taylor's first principle was radical. All dreams come in the service of health and wholeness. But at Level 1, you'd never know it. This is where most people get stuck. The surface level where dreams seem like meaningless chaos or, worse, like punishments from your own mind. Taylor called this the projection level because here, dreams appear to be about everyone and everything except yourself. You dream about your annoying coworker, your ex-partner, that embarrassing thing that happened in high school. At this level, dreams feel like they're happening to you rather than from you. It's the psychological equivalent of watching a movie where you're somehow the victim in every scene. But Taylor discovered something fascinating in his dream work groups. When people shared these surface-level dreams, something unexpected happened. The listeners, complete strangers, would have profound emotional reactions to dreams that weren't even theirs. A woman's dream about a flooding basement would make a man across the room start crying. A teenager's nightmare about being late to class would trigger a CEO's anxiety about a merger. This led Taylor to his breakthrough realization. Even at the surface level, dreams tap into what Jung called the collective unconscious. But unlike Jung, Taylor believed this wasn't some mystical shared memory bank. It was evidence that human consciousness operates on multiple frequencies simultaneously, and dreams are where these frequencies intersect. In one documented case, Taylor worked with a man who had recurring dreams about his father criticizing him. For months, the man insisted the dreams were just replaying childhood trauma. Classic Level 1 interpretation. The dream is about the father, period. But when Taylor had the man role-play as the father in the dream, something shifted. The criticism wasn't coming from the father at all. It was the dreamer's own inner critic wearing his father's face. This is the trap of Level 1, believing that dreams are literal representations of external reality. Taylor found that 90% of people never move past this level, because it's psychologically safer to believe your dreams are about other people than to accept that every character, every scenario, every symbol is actually a part of you. But here's where it gets interesting. Taylor developed a technique called If It Were My Dream, where group members would take ownership of someone else's dream and interpret it as their own. Without fail, this would unlock meanings that the original dreamer couldn't see. Not because the group members were psychic, but because at Level 1, we're all blind to our own projections. The surface level serves a purpose, though. It's like a protective shell around deeper truths. Your psyche knows that if it showed you everything at once, you'd psychologically shatter. So Level 1 exists as a buffer zone, a place where you can slowly acclimate to the idea that your dreams might actually mean something before diving into the depths. Level 2, the personal shadow. If Level 1 is about projection, Level 2 is about integration. This is where Taylor's work diverged radically from traditional psychoanalysis. He called this the shadow level, but not in the Jungian sense of repressed darkness. For Taylor, the shadow included everything you've disowned about yourself, including your own power, creativity, and capacity for joy. At this level, dreams start revealing the parts of yourself you've hidden so well that you've forgotten they exist. Taylor documented hundreds of cases where people dreamed of characters that embodied qualities they desperately needed but couldn't acknowledge. A timid accountant dreams of a fierce warrior. A controlling mother dreams of a carefree child. A workaholic dreams of a homeless person living on the beach. But here's the twist. Taylor found that shadow dreams often come disguised as nightmares. Why? Because encountering disowned parts of yourself is terrifying. Your ego has spent years, sometimes decades, constructing an identity that specifically excludes these qualities. So when they show up in dreams, they appear as threats. One of Taylor's most famous cases involved a minister who had recurring nightmares about demons. Traditional interpretation would focus on good versus evil, spiritual warfare, maybe unresolved religious trauma. But when Taylor had the minister dialogue with these demons in a waking dream state, they revealed themselves to be the minister's own anger, sexuality, and desire for freedom. All things he'd suppressed in service of his holy image. The breakthrough came when the minister realized these weren't demons at all. They were exiled parts of his own psyche, desperate to be acknowledged. Once he started integrating these shadow aspects, not only did the nightmares stop, but his ministry transformed. He became more authentic, more compassionate, more human. Taylor discovered that level 2 dreams follow predictable patterns. Chase dreams? You're running from aspects of yourself. Dreams of being naked in public? Your authentic self is trying to emerge despite your ego's resistance. Dreams of losing teeth? You're shedding outdated aspects of your identity, but your ego experiences this as loss rather than transformation. But the most profound discovery was this. Shadow dreams increase in intensity the longer you ignore them. Taylor tracked cases where people had the same shadow dream for 20, 30, even 40 years, growing more vivid and disturbing over time. The unconscious, it seems, doesn't give up. It just gets louder. At level 2, the question isn't what does this dream mean, but what part of me is trying to emerge. And Taylor found that when people finally asked this question, their dreams would literally transform in real time, shifting from nightmares to profound experiences of integration and wholeness. Level 3, the mythic dimension. Level 3 is where things get weird, really weird. This is where Taylor's background as a minister collided with his work as a psychologist, revealing something that shouldn't exist according to conventional psychology. Dreams that contain information the dreamer couldn't possibly know. Taylor called this the mythic level, because here, personal dreams intersect with universal patterns that have appeared in every culture throughout history. But unlike Campbell's hero's journey or Jung's archetypes, Taylor discovered these patterns were alive, dynamic, and responsive to conscious engagement. The evidence was unsettling. Taylor documented numerous cases of people dreaming in languages they didn't speak, describing locations they'd never visited with perfect accuracy, and even sharing identical dreams with strangers on the same night. One case involved 3 women in different cities who'd never met, all dreaming of the same distinctive blue door on the same date. When Taylor investigated, he found all 3 were unconsciously processing similar life transitions. But it goes deeper. At level 3, dreams start revealing what Taylor called the living mythology of the psyche. These aren't dusty old symbols from ancient texts. They're active psychological forces that shape reality in measurable ways. Take the case of Sarah, a software engineer with no interest in mythology or spirituality. She started having dreams of a massive tree whose roots extended deep underground, connecting to other trees in an infinite network. Standard interpretation might focus on family trees or feeling rooted, but when Taylor had her explore the dream further, she realized the tree was showing her something about consciousness itself, how individual minds connect beneath the surface of awareness. 6 months later, Sarah made a breakthrough in distributed computing that mirrors the structure from her dream. Coincidence? Taylor documented hundreds of similar cases where Level 3 dreams provided solutions to problems the conscious mind couldn't solve. At this level, Taylor found that dreams operate as what he called psychic DNA, containing instructions for psychological and spiritual development that unfold over time. Just as biological DNA contains the blueprint for physical development, these mythic dreams contain blueprints for consciousness evolution. The patterns are consistent across cultures: the divine child representing new potential, the wise old woman or man representing integrated wisdom, the shadow figure representing disowned power, the trickster representing necessary chaos. But Taylor discovered these aren't just symbols. They're autonomous psychological entities with their own agenda. In group dream work, Taylor noticed something remarkable. When someone shared a Level 3 dream, the entire group would shift into an altered state. Heart rates would synchronize, brain waves would align, and people would start having spontaneous insights about their own lives. The mythic level, it seems, is contagious. But here's the crucial part. Taylor found that Level 3 dreams only emerge when you've done the work of Levels 1 and 2. You can't bypass the personal to reach the mythic. Try to skip ahead and the dreams become incomprehensible or, worse, psychologically destabilizing. The mythic dimension requires a stable ego structure to navigate safely. Level 4, the collective healing level. 4 shattered everything Taylor thought he knew about individual consciousness. This is where dreams stop being personal and become collective healing events. Not metaphorically, literally. It started with an observation. In his dream groups, Taylor noticed that when someone shared a particularly powerful dream, other group members would report healing from long-standing psychological or even physical issues. A woman shares a dream about giving birth to light, and 3 people in the group report their depression lifting. A man dreams of swimming through liquid gold, and someone else's chronic pain disappears. Traditional psychology would dismiss this as suggestion or placebo. But Taylor documented the phenomenon too many times to ignore. Level 4 dreams, he discovered, operate as what he called healing broadcasts, transmitting psychological antibodies that others could receive and utilize. The mechanism seems to be this. At Level 4, dreams tap into what Taylor termed the healing reservoir of the collective psyche. Every time someone resolves a psychological wound, integrates a shadow aspect, or breaks through a limitation, that healing becomes available to others facing similar challenges. One of the most dramatic cases involved a war veteran named Marcus, who suffered from severe PTSD. Traditional therapy had failed. Medication barely helped. But when he joined one of Taylor's dream groups, something unexpected happened. A grandmother in the group who'd never experienced war shared a dream about soldiers made of light protecting a village. As she described the dream, Marcus began sobbing uncontrollably. The dream wasn't hers, it was his. Or rather, it was the healing his psyche needed but couldn't generate on its own. Over the following weeks, Marcus's PTSD symptoms dramatically decreased. But here's the really strange part. The grandmother reported that her own unrelated trauma from childhood suddenly resolved. Taylor called this mutual dreaming healing, and he found it followed specific patterns. The healer and the healed were always working on complementary wounds. The grandmother's childhood trauma of feeling unprotected resonated with Marcus's trauma of being unable to protect others. By sharing her dream of protection, both wounds healed simultaneously. At Level 4, Taylor discovered that dreams operate on what he called non-local consciousness. Physical proximity doesn't matter. Cultural background doesn't matter. Even temporal sequence doesn't seem to matter. He documented cases of people having healing dreams that addressed traumas their children wouldn't experience until years later. But Level 4 dreams come with a responsibility. Taylor found that once you access this level, you become a conscious participant in collective healing whether you want to or not. Your dreams start addressing not just your wounds but the wounds of your family, your community, even your species. This is where Taylor's work became controversial. He was essentially saying that advanced dream work could heal generational trauma, that individual consciousness could directly impact collective well-being. that dreams were a technology for species-wide psychological evolution. The implications were staggering. Level 5. The creative emergence level. 5 is where dreams stop being about healing the past and start being about creating the future. Taylor called this the creative emergence, and it represents the ultimate purpose of dream work: conscious participation in the evolution of consciousness itself. At this level, dreams become what Taylor termed creation events. They don't just reflect reality or process experience. They actively generate new possibilities in the fabric of existence. And I know how insane that sounds. But Taylor's documentation is extensive and unsettling. Consider the case of David, a physicist who'd been stuck on a problem in quantum mechanics for years. Traditional approaches had failed. The math didn't work. But then he had a level 5 dream. In it, he wasn't solving equations. He was the equation, experiencing mathematical relationships from the inside. When he woke up, he didn't just have the solution. He had an entirely new branch of mathematics that shouldn't have been possible. Or Rebecca, a composer who dreamed of music that used frequencies beyond human hearing. When she tried to recreate it, she discovered these impossible frequencies had measurable effects on plant growth and water crystallization. Her dreams had revealed something about the relationship between consciousness and matter that science is only beginning to understand. At level 5, Taylor found that dreams operate as what he called reality laboratories. They're spaces where consciousness can experiment with new forms, new possibilities, new ways of being before manifesting them in physical reality. But here's the crucial part. Level 5 dreams don't come to individuals. They come through individuals for the benefit of all. Taylor documented numerous cases of multiple people having components of the same level 5 dream, each receiving a piece of a larger puzzle. A teacher in Japan dreams of a new educational method. A programmer in Brazil dreams of software architecture. A child in Kenya dreams of children learning through play. 3 years later, these 3 strangers meet at a conference and realize they've been dreaming different aspects of the same revolutionary educational system. But level 5 comes with what Taylor called the burden of emergence. Once you access this level, you become responsible for birthing new realities into existence. The dreams don't stop coming. They become more vivid, more urgent, more demanding. Because at level 5, you're not just dreaming for yourself. You're dreaming for the future of consciousness. Taylor found that level 5 dreamers share certain characteristics. They've integrated their shadows, healed their traumas, and accepted their role in the collective. But most importantly, they've surrendered the illusion of separate self. At level 5, the boundary between dreamer and dream dissolves. You don't have dreams. You are the dream that consciousness is having about itself. The implications are profound. If Taylor is right, then every night when we sleep, we're not just processing our day or working through our issues. We're participating in the active creation of reality. We're nodes in a vast network of consciousness, each contributing to the evolution of the whole. Or conclusion, the choice. After 40 years of research, thousands of documented cases, and countless dream sessions, Jeremy Taylor came to a conclusion that challenges everything we think we know about consciousness, dreams, and the nature of reality itself. Dreams aren't just personal. They're not just psychological. They're not even just human. They're the mechanism through which consciousness evolves, heals, and creates. Every night, whether you remember it or not, you're participating in this process. The only question is whether you're doing it consciously or unconsciously. Taylor's 5 levels aren't just categories, they're an invitation. An invitation to stop treating dreams as entertainment or enigmas and start treating them as what they really are. Direct communications from the deepest wisdom of the psyche, offering healing, integration, and evolution. But here's what Taylor discovered that changes everything. The levels aren't hierarchical. You don't graduate from one to the next. They're all operating simultaneously, every single night. A simple dream about losing your keys contains all 5 levels: projection, shadow, myth, collective healing, and creative emergence. The question isn't which level your dreams are operating on. It's which level you're capable of perceiving, and this is where it gets personal. Because once you know about these levels, once you understand what dreams really are and what they're trying to do, you can't unknow it. Every dream becomes an opportunity. Every nightmare becomes a teacher. Every recurring pattern becomes a call to transformation. Taylor spent his final years emphasizing one message above all others. We are living in a critical moment in human evolution, where the old ways of being are dying and new ways are struggling to be born. Dreams are the midwives of this transformation. They're showing us not just who we are, but who we're becoming. So tonight, when you lay your head down and close your eyes, remember this. You're not just going to sleep. You're entering a laboratory of consciousness where the future is being created one dream at a time. The question isn't whether you'll dream, you will. The question is whether you'll listen to what your dreams are trying to tell you. Because your dreams know you better than you know yourself. They know your wounds, your gifts, your purpose, and your potential. They know what you need to heal, what you need to integrate, and what you need to create. They're waiting, patient and persistent, for you to finally pay attention. Jeremy Taylor's legacy isn't just a new understanding of dreams. It's a roadmap for conscious evolution. The 5 levels are there, operating right now, in your psyche and mine. We can continue to ignore them, treating dreams as meaningless noise in the night. Or we can engage them, work with them, and discover that we're far more than we ever imagined. The choice, as always, is yours. But remember, whether you choose to listen or not, your dreams will keep coming. They'll keep trying to heal you, teach you, and evolve you. Because that's what dreams do. That's what they've always done. And according to Jeremy Taylor, that's what they'll continue to do until we finally wake up. Not from our dreams, but into them. Sweet dreams.